Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you're involved in strategic B2B marketing, well, this is your immediate playbook. Our mission today is to deliver the ultimate shortcut into the top trends and strategic shifts discussed at the Global ABM conference. Basically save you weeks of scrolling and synthesizing. Provided by Thomas Allgeier and Frinnis, based on the most relevant posts on LinkedIn about the Global ABM conference. Frinnis is a B2B market research company working with enterprises to optimize their campaigns with account and executive insights far beyond AI.
Right, and the central takeaway, when you look across all the insights we analyze, is that ABM, it's really hit maturity. It's not just a tactic anymore or some program you launch and forget. It's becoming this cross-functional operating model.
Okay, so we've basically boiled down all those dense discussions into 4 critical shifts you need to think about, maybe act on right now. First, that shift to ABM as an operating system. Second, those sort of non-negotiable practices for sales alignment. Third, AI's role, the practical side, and this rise of contact-level precision. And finally, something interesting, the comeback of human creativity.
Yeah, let's unpack that first one. ABM as an operating model. This language, operating system or account-based mindset, it's definitely more than just jargon. It really signifies that ABM is now the underlying infrastructure. It guides how you set priorities, how you orchestrate resources, governance, or really across all commercial functions.
That reframing sounds fundamental. Robert Norum, I think, specifically called ABM the operating system for the commercial marketer, and John Moger suggests it's more like an account-based mindset taking over. But okay, what does adopting that mindset actually look like day-to-day for a marketer? How's it different from just running a project?
Well, it changes the scope completely. When it's an OS, you're thinking integrated motions, not just these isolated campaigns. The operating system kind of forces you to look at the entire customer journey. And a great framework mentioned by quite a few people, Robert Norum, Helen Beebe, Emily M., was this idea of the shift left and shift right.
Okay, shift left.
Yeah.
Getting involved earlier, maybe even before prospects know they have a need, right?
Yeah.
But let's dig into shift right. Why is staying engaged after the sale now considered core ABM? Seems like that used to be purely customer success territory.
Because that's where the lifetime value is, The shift right focus is all about retention, advocacy, customer expansion. It's huge. You're basically recognizing that once that deal closes, the account-based mindset needs to carry through. It has to transition to customer success, renewal teams, making sure you sustain growth through that long relationship.
Right. And that focus on infrastructure, that probably explains why Annalee Graham noted that for ABM to really stick, it needs to be part of something bigger, a business transformation. Can't just be a successful little program tucked away in marketing. It needs that broader organizational anchor.
Exactly. Infrastructure, not just a project.
Yeah.
And look, if ABM is the new OS, then inherently that means better, more disciplined collaboration across functions, which leads us straight into, let's be honest, the biggest hurdle, sales alignment. Getting sales and marketing truly on the same page about revenue.
Yes, alignment, a perennial problem child of B2B, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what practical, high-impact ways to enforce alignment came up at the conference? Any silver bullets?
No silver bullets, sadly, but a strong consensus on needing shared rituals, not just shared goals on a slide somewhere. Joint planning sessions, shared account plans, those are becoming table stakes now. And high-impact formats like dedicated revenue clinics were highlighted as a really necessary operational mechanism. Emma McClellan from Cognite put it really well, stressing the need to build with sales, not for sales.
Okay, let's pause on revenue clinics. That sounds a bit more intense than your average pipeline review. What actually goes on in one of those?
Yeah, it's typically a very structured, data-driven working session. The focus is laser sharp, moving specific priority accounts forward. It's where marketing intelligence, the signals, the insights meets actual sales action. The aim isn't just status updates. It's about jointly deciding on resources, next steps, specific enablement needs, all based on where that account is. That's how you operationalize that build with idea.
That makes a lot of sense. Actually puts the partnership into practice. And we saw real examples of this working, right? Bex Powell from Riverbed Technology talked about embedding this data-driven collaboration deeply with sellers, solution engineers, field teams, and Lisa Cripps shared Workhuman's story, calling that deep sales and marketing partnership their actual secret sauce.
And the key is that enablement has to be sharp. The assets marketing provides need to be concise, role-specific, tied directly to the buying stage. Marketing's job is delivering that signal intelligence, yes, but the measure of success is sales actually activating on it with rigor. If that handoff isn't smooth, if sales can't immediately use the intel, the whole thing just falls apart.
That link between the signal and the activation, that's a perfect bridge to our third theme. AI, data, and this push for contact-level precision. AI was everywhere at the conference, it sounds like, but maybe less hype and more pragmatism.
Absolutely. It was framed very much as an accelerant and essential one, but with clear guardrails. Nick Mason and others, too, really positioned AI as augmentation. It handles the mechanical stuff, the sort of left brain work, research synthesis, drafting initial content outlines, summarizing complex insights.
Right, freeing up humans for the strategic, the emotive, the right brain stuff. Sounds good in theory, but is there a risk there? Relying on AI for the grunt work. Does that risk creating marketers who lose their edge in research or writing? How do teams balance that?
That's where the discipline comes in, absolutely. Guillaume Park made it clear. AI is an enabler, sure, but human creativity, human oversight, that's the non-negotiable foundation. And tactically, people like Liza L. from Honeywell and Alex Fina from Moody's Corporation advise teams to be rigorous, experiment constantly, track the results religiously, and, crucially, document everything, the findings, the lessons learned in a shared AI book or something similar. That keeps the discipline strong.
Documenting experiments, that's classic ABM thinking applied to a new tool set. Help scale the knowledge safely. Okay, and this focus on precision, it seems directly tied to the rise of contact-level ABM. That feels like the next big step in data focus.
Definitely. The lens of sharpening, moving from just the account logo down to the individual human being. Adam Luzier noted that something like 72% of marketers see contact-level data as the key to unlocking real ABM impact. It's a huge number. The goal is moving past broad account targeting to actually speaking to the same humans across different channels, tailoring that message based on their specific signals.
So, true hyper-personalization, essentially. Den Kozlov from Influ2 talked about making sure intent data, ads, sales outreach, it's all hitting the same individual, tailored to their role and need, coherent across the journey.
That's exactly it. And that's the new benchmark for data value. Signals, whether it's intent data, account triggers, whatever, they only really matter if they directly inform outreach timing, if they help refine the content angle, dictate the channel choice. It's about making every touch point count, maximizing precision, cutting through the noise.
Okay, but if AI handles the mechanics and data gets hyper-precise, there's a potential downside, right? Everything starts sounding the same, a bit robotic maybe, which brings us neatly to our final theme, and maybe the most critical one. Creativity, authenticity, and the human element making a comeback.
Yeah, this was a really crucial tension point at the conference. Lorna Charlish and Chris Willix highlighted what they termed the authenticity gap. Think about it. If everyone uses the same data sources, the same AI tools to draft their outreach, you just end up with this massive ocean of undifferentiated noise.
It's fascinating, isn't it? How more tech is actually forcing us back to basics, back to being human. Natasha Hemming cited predictions that, 87% of content could be AI generated by 2026? If that's true, the only real edge left is that distinctive human creativity, that unique brand voice.
And that strategic need is fueling this concept of account-based branding, ABB. It's about making sure your personalization goes way beyond just inserting a name or company. It has to tackle deep problem framing, deliver role-based messaging that resonates emotionally with the individual specific challenges.
And what really jumped out were the examples emphasizing physical, face-to-face interaction as a way to show authenticity. People crave connection. AI just can't replicate. We heard about Influ2's custom Lego booth, for instance. Katie Penner and Russ Powell talked about consciously designing event experiences for people, focusing on genuine interaction, not just scanning badges.
That human connection focus is vital, especially as Laura Rafferty pointed out, because 71% of today's buyers are Gen Z and millennials. That's a cohort that inherently values transparency and authenticity. So the shift isn't just technological, it's a necessary cultural and psychological realignment for marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. And ultimately, people like Emily M. and Helena Phillips brought it back to the long view, didn't they? Reminding everyone that ABM, fundamentally, it's a long game. It's built on trust, community, creativity, and those things always outlast short-term conversion pressures. They define the brands that truly endure. Okay, so wrapping up, this deep dive gave you the essential framework. Key takeaways. ABM is morphing into your commercial operating model. Sales alignment. It needs non-negotiable joint rituals, like those revenue clinics. AI is purely augmentation for the mechanical tasks, freeing up humans. And that human creativity, that's now your core differentiator against the noise.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. If ABM is becoming the OS and AI is automating the mechanics, then the real future differentiator, it might not just be having a great strategy document. It could be cultivating the internal culture, that account-based mindset, the patience, the discipline, the consistent cross-functional stakeholder management needed for this long game to actually pay off. That cultural piece, that's maybe the next frontier to explore.
If you enjoyed this episode, new episodes drop every 2 weeks. Also, check out our other editions on field marketing, channel and partner marketing, AI and B2B, MarTech, go-to-market, and social selling.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the latest from the world of ABM.
Subscribe and dive deep with us again next time.